Welcome to Bittersweet Theory. Today's theory is about Poppy playtime. The main theory is that the prototype wants to end it all by killing everyone off. He wants to end the never-ending cycle of torture. This could explain why a lot of things really don't make sense in Poppy playtime. So for this video, we'll be going over all the things that don't add up at all in all 3 chapters. That way I can somehow make sense of what is going on in this game. Let's start in chapter 1, when we are first introduced to Huggy Wuggy. Now what doesn't add up is that in 1992 we see Huggy trying to escape in a security footage. Then years after the Hour of Joy, when there is no one stopping him, he stands in place. We learn that in chapter 3 the prototype orchestrated the Hour of Joy because of the VHS tape found in chapter 1. This leads me to believe that the prototype uses catnap to keep all of the bigger body toys from escaping. So what we can take from this is that the prototype at this point in time has control over what is left of the bigger body toys. Another thing that didn't make sense is that later on, after you make a toy, Huggy approaches you and almost stalks you until he starts to chase you. This is an odd behavior if you're an ex-employee, and we know what the toys did to the employees when the Hour of Joy took place. This leads me to believe that the prototype is watching you and seeing what you do, like he did of all of the higher-ups and employees before the Hour of Joy. Mommy Longlegs also displays similar behavior to Huggy Wuggy. She confirms that you used to work at the factory but chooses not to kill you right away. Instead, she plays games with you, just like the kids were forced to do. This can confirm that the prototype is watching you because he could send any of the bigger body toys to kill you, but doesn't. This leads me to believe that the prototype is pulling the strings, and the prototype is the one telling the bigger body toys not to kill you because the prototype needs you to end it all. I also want to point out that I don't think it is Poppy that could have sent the note because she was locked in the case the whole time until the player opened it. The reason why is because when Poppy is talking about the Hour of Joy, she says,
"I remember hearing every moment of it. It went on so long."
She's only talking about hearing the Hour of Joy, not witnessing it. We find out in chapter 2 that Mommy Longlegs was the one that put Poppy in the case by order of the prototype. The reason why I believe that the prototype told her to do it is because the bigger bodies that are still alive made a deal with the prototype. We learn this from Miss Delight's notes found in the school. She was locked in the school with all the other teachers until it was just her. When Catnap comes back, she makes a deal with him. The deal is that she will tell him everything that she sees and report back to him. We know that Catnap worships the prototype and tells him everything. Dog Day is the example of what happens when you defy the prototype's plans. So that means that Mommy Longlegs, Miss Delight, Huggy Wuggy have all made a deal with the prototype. I also want to point out that Mommy Longlegs, Miss Delight, and Huggy Wuggy are the bigger body toys that were taken out by the player. For this next part, we're going to talk about Poppy. The problem with Poppy is that she's just like the prototype. When she is around certain toys like the prototype, she can persuade them to do what she wants. This would explain why Kissy Missy killed employees in the Hour of Joy, but is submissive when she tries to attack you outside of Home Sweet Home. However, the prototype has prepared for this and is manipulating Poppy by using the persona Ollie. I believe that Ollie is a prototype due to his knowledge of everything that has happened. The prototype can also mimic voices. We learned this from the VHS tape about the prototype. Ollie also knows why Catnap worships the prototype. Ollie just knows a little bit too much about what's going on. I also want to point out that Ollie is the one who tells you what to do in order to lead you to the area where Catnap can be killed. At the end of chapter 3, despite having a close relationship with Catnap, the prototype still chooses to kill him. But why? Well, we get the answer when we go through the notes we see in the school with Miss Delight and Dog Day. With the notes that we can find around the school, we see Miss Delight's mental breakdown, spiraling as hunger starts to consume her. Then, after Catnap locks her in the school, she eats all the other teachers. Then Dog Day talks about all the smaller toys and how they want to eat you. Even Poppy says that after the Hour of Joy, the bodies of all the employees were dragged down below in the factory to be eaten. This is another problem that the prototype has to deal with now. There are hundreds of toys that have to eat. It was easy at first because anyone that defied him, he could kill, and then they would become the next meal for the remaining toys. Over time, the food source is running low, and the other toys are now starting to eat each other. So now, instead of being tortured by the scientists, the toys are being tortured by hunger. Now we're going to talk about the Hour of Joy. There was one thing that was really odd for me. For the whole game to be built around turning kids into toys, there were no kids during the Hour of Joy. It was only the employees. I believe that two things might have happened. Either before the Hour of Joy, the remaining kids were turned into toys, or somehow they were able to escape. Either way, there are no kids during the Hour of Joy, and there are no kids after the Hour of Joy either. Also, I can't be sure if the bodies that we see under the sheets in Home Sweet Home are the employees trying to hide, or the remaining kids that died due to too much red smoke exposure. The reason why is because Miss Delight asked what happens to them in one of the VHS tapes we find at the school. I'm leaning more towards that all of the remaining kids were turned into toys, because when Dog Day says that he tried to fight the prototype, he was not alone. That all of the remaining toys that were on Dog Day's side were made examples of if anyone tries to defy the prototype. And what did he do? He displayed their bodies as a warning sign to other toys. Now this brings me to the last thing that doesn't make sense. If you were an ex-employee from the factory, why would you come back? What ties would you have to come back to a place that is not great to work for? Rich from the VHS tapes gives us a good idea of how employees are treated at Playtime Co. You would have to be someone of importance. Someone the prototype would write the note to and draw you back to this factory. I could say that you play as Rich, but there's not enough evidence to support that yet. But I guess we won't get that answer until Chapter 4. I will be making another video going over what I think Poppy's master plan is and trying to connect more pieces of this story. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And until next time, it has been bittersweet.